This is the old school vintage spin cast reel, mainly because you could tell by the look of it, mainly because it has the old solid steel frame. This is the Synergy 10. It's not that bad of a rod. I've tested it out a good bit. Rod and reel, everything works out fine. I got it set up with the same thing. Damn planes. But yep, this I have set up with like an industrial weight on it, industrial bobber and weight on it, mainly because I'm trying to get some bigger fish on this thing. I would like to go ahead and try doing this a little bit better. So yep, once I catch anything, this rod and reel is definitely going up to what I'm going to tell you guys. Now to move on to one of my favorite things I just came into the possession of. Is actually my first ever bait caster. I actually just got this not too long ago. I got a 20-pound test line on it, and by the little square bill I got on it, it ain't that bad. It's just that I've tried many baits on it, especially poppers, and yet those are the big ones for it that are actually pretty good. So I'm really hoping I could catch something decent on this. And yet I even got some new baits I might want to try out on it. This rod is roughly about 6'2" at least. So yeah, it's about average. It's actually like a little bit above average, but that concludes this. But yeah, now it's time to move on to my two spinning reels I've had, and I've even told you guys about. So yeah, let's move on to them. Right here, here's the old black and chrome one. How I originally told you guys I had a 20-pound test line on it. I changed that out for a 30-pound braid, and yet I got a red and black spinnerbait on it that I'm hoping can probably land something. Because now with the summer weather catching up, water's starting to get like a little bit brackish out there. So yeah, probably something that'll throw out like a little bit oddity to it. I'm hoping they'll find it, they'll land it. So yeah, I'll have some more fish on this rod. Now I ain't gonna lie, the rod and reel, everything is good. This is the Ozark Trail. This is the Ozark Trail edition of them. This thing comes with tackle and everything. Comes with like a factory 10-pound line on it. And I'm going for anything on this. It doesn't matter. That's the whole thing about me. With fishing, I'll catch just about anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Red drum, carp, anything. And yet, I've caught a handful of things on this, and yet red drum happens to be one of them. So yep, now to move on to a little bit, I'm going to introduce you guys to a new rod I just bought yesterday. It is a brand new Abu Garcia. Right now, this is the Abu Garcia that if you guys can actually place it, it's Mike Iaconelli. I'm probably butchering that last name, so right now with this, I got a 20-pound braid on it with a small little bluegill popper on it. And yet, this thing handles pretty good. I've used all my new baits I got on this. And yet, this one handles pretty darn good. I'll give it credit. I've never used many Abu Garcias before. But yet, to use this one really felt kind of different. But yeah, at least it was like a good different. But now to move on. First thing I gotta say, this is actually pretty good. If you're ever wanting to tackle something pretty big and all that, and yet this thing holds up pretty good. The pole alone holds up nice. The line itself, because of braid, it holds up very strong and everything. So yeah, if I was ever to recommend something, as you guys progress throughout fishing, either go with a bait caster or a spinning reel. Mainly because you can do a whole lot, especially with freshwater wise. So yeah, I'm going to move on to my next one, and I'm even going to introduce you guys to one new rod I got that I don't think I've ever shown off. But yep, I'm going to move on. Give me a second. I've told you guys a handful of times about my Tiger spinning reel and everything. Here it is now. Originally it had about like a 15-pound line. I think it was like probably 15 or 20-pound line on it. This thing is roughly 7 feet tall, and as you guys can tell by the leader and all that stuff, this is like a 30-pound leader too. I got one of those H&H bobbers already hooked up on it. I got a small, crap, I forgot what type of hook this was. Man, you're already slacking up already. And yeah, if you guys ever want to string up one of these, look back at my H&H setup with what was it? My polymer knot and H&H bobber setup. Go and check out that video to see how you're able to set these ones up, especially with the leader and all that. So yeah, now I'm going to move on to another rod that I got that has the similar setup and everything. And yeah, you guys are going to see it for the very first time. As a handful of you guys may know already about these rods being in store, this is the Zebco Bite Force. This thing is very nice. I have the same setup as it was on my Tiger. This is a 20-pound line and all that. I got one of these big old hooks set up on it, just like I got on my big contender. I'm going to be showing in about 2 rods later. And yet this one's actually, I set the drag appropriately for it, so if I catch anything, this one's got pretty good setup on it and everything. And here's the whole thing. There's like a little switch right here on the bottom of it. Right here on the bottom, all the way down. That automatically sets it. And yeah, even right here on the side, there's a sensitivity switch. But yet the whole thing is, whenever it hits the water and all that, it has like a trigger on it. It lets off about like 3 beeps for it. And yet I'm hoping that I can probably get this out there. That way I can see what this thing could really do. And yeah, if I catch anything with it, I'm actually going to be kind of good. So yeah, now to move on to my other one. You guys remember the big old Tiger spinning reel? Here it is. Here we are. The legendary Shakespeare original. This is the original Shakespeare Tiger rod and reel. This is a Shakespeare ugly stick with a Shakespeare Tiger rod on it. And yet, as you guys can tell, this